Arcana. And this week we decided to dive a bit deeper in a few Major Arcana cards, and we go. We're gonna delve into numbers 1 to 5. 1 to 5.
Yeah.
1 is the Magician.
We skip the full.
We skip the
then-
full. The full will get its own episode, definitely.
Yeah.
There's too much to talk about the full. So it's the Magician is number 1. Number 2 is the Priestess or the High Priestess. Number 3 is the Empress. Number 4 is the Emperor, and number 5 is the Hierophant. If I listened to last week's episode of the tarot part, and it was all about endings and new beginnings and going over big things, and that these 5 cards are totally different because they're human archetypes. The archetypes that represents us, our own life phases that we go through. And maybe you can bring them on screen.
Awesome.
And there we have them: the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, and the Hierophant. And what's special about them? The Magician, of course, is the know-it-all and do-it-all. Is the skilled, handy person, the person with the high vibration, the person with the skills to manifest anything magically.
Yeah. Manifester.
A manifester, a communicator. Mercury is his planet, the quickest planet, so it's a quick thing. When we turn the Magician around, we get the trickster, we get the cheat, we get the we get people who sometimes benefit themselves at the cost of others.
Yeah.
So it's not all doom and gloom, but it's not all magically good as well.
Yeah, but then when it's in reverse, sometimes it may talk also about having everything in front of us, but not being able to use those skills.
Or not seeing it.
Not knowing how, not seeing it, even though it's accessible, there is a blockage there.
Yeah. We move on to the High Priestess. There we have the wise woman, the spiritual teacher, or the one that, if we get her in a reading, that invites us to raise our vibration, to learn, to teach, to embrace our spirituality. We often see her with a finger for her mouth, not in this one, but we get more of them. And it's the wise woman.
Definitely. It's the intuition. It's the subconscious. It's the inner knowing.
And of course, she carries the moon, the crescent moon on her forehead. The next two, I always regard them as a couple. Their names are similar, the Empress and the Emperor. The father and mother archetype, the carer, the stability, the bringer of care and the bringer of earthy things, fire, watery. Very
to me, feminine, masculine.
Definitely,
element.
Definitely.
Feminine creation, sometimes chaos, and the emperor doer.
Yeah, the authoritative figure.
Oh yeah.
And of course we have the Stairway to Heaven with the Hierophant.
Which this one is actually an unusual visual for the Hierophant, because he's smiling, he's joyful and happy. We'll probably get to the more traditional cards in a second.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, but this is I like it, Stairway to Heaven.
So it's a spiritual teacher. It's we see later in the Marseille Tarot that these two are a couple. These two can be a couple too. The Hierophant and the High Priestess.
Yeah.
So they're feminine, masculine side of it, and the Magician on its own. Well, sometimes the Magician has a bit of a relation with the High Priestess as well. So she has more ponds to fish in.
True.
Yeah, but so if you want to learn the tarot, get clear about the archetypes, about the doer, the know-it-all, the wise woman and the wise man, and the mother-father archetype, the
Yeah,
man-woman archetype in place. Let's go to a more traditional look at them.
yes,
Um, Rider-Waite-Smith, very interesting and very good deck to learn tarot with.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's the do it all. Um, we see here see the priestess with her two pillars, and there we see the connection with the Hierophant.
Mm.
They both have the pillars as well, where they stand between. The magician, as above, so below. That's his credo, and also as below, so above,
Mm-hmm.
connecting the spiritual realm with the earthly realm. Um, Up here we see the four suits we talked about last week: the cups, the swords, the coins or pentacles, and the wands
Mm-hmm.
on his table. So he shows his ability, the sign of eternity above his head.
Yeah.
Interesting cards. Emperor, Empress, very royal depictions here. So they may be a bit um, remote from if you get them yourself. And who feels like he's top of the bill? We cannot all be Taylor Swift. We cannot all be number one. And of course we say the masculine, but we give that title to that lady, the emperor.
And
And
why, to find out why, go to the Fool's Journey in the episode about the Emperor, and you will get the answer why we say that Taylor Swift
it's an
is
emperor.
actually an emperor.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and an empress too, also, but in a different way, especially in her realm. Let's take it a bit further, and now we get to the um, more intuitive readings
More
and
traditional.
traditional card decks. So we still see the magician with his tools on the table, and now and the tool in hand, of course. Um, the position of the feet can be important. Where he gazes can be important. We see here Le Panses and Le Pape. So this is the Popus and the Pope. That's how they get
Mm-hmm.
connected in the traditional tarot. Of course, we never have known a proper female Pope. It seemed that there was one, but it was one dressed up as a man.
Yeah.
So playing a Pope. Um, Emperor and Empress. Yeah, we already see that they're looking at each other a bit, and that's also interesting.
And why is it important that some of those
Gazes.
gaze at each other? You can read so much about the connection between people or relationship we have with others just by reading the fabulous cards, just
Yeah,
by paying attention to those small details.
yeah. I have a lovely story of a reading that I had with my personal deck, the Thoth Tarot. Here without the titles, but they're the same cards again. Magician. I had a mother who was very worried about her son, the magician, and because the son was doing drugs and doing bad things with his life, and he had a bit of a struggle. In the reading, she came on the table as the mother archetype, but the emperor was on this side,
Mm.
which gave it away. I say, oh, but you are fighting with your son, but your husband has a totally different view, because I saw them looking away from each other in the normal sequence. Card 3 and 4, they look at each other, they're gazing at each other, they're a couple, they're working together, but they showed up in this way, which gave me the answer. Okay, you're not on the same page as
Mhm.
your husband with this one.
Yeah. So see how much you can tell by just looking and observing the details of the cards. Because
Yeah,
within tarot, everything has a meaning. Every single color, shape,
detail.
creature, detail has its meaning.
Yeah,
Especially in those traditional, like wider tarot, wider Smith tarot.
or the Messiah. Yeah.
Yeah, these things matter. And if you learn that, you'll be able to read cards more deeply and more accurate as well.
Yeah, you definitely do. So that's interesting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Which one out of those on the table would be your favorite? Perhaps I can take it off the screen now.
You mean the deck or the card?
The cards itself, out of people.
Yeah.
Guys, you could do it together. Those who read tarot and those who are familiar with that.
Or people who are not familiar. If of any of the cards that we talked about, the Magician, the Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor, or the Hierophant, which one resonates with you? Who are you in life?
That's also a good question.
Yeah. But to me, the Magic Man.
Yeah.
I'm the juggler.
Well, nobody will be surprised if
Yeah,
I put this card on the table. High Priestess.
I always call you the High Priestess of our channel.
Yes, you do.
And you are.
Why High Priestess? Because of the connection of the deeper inner knowledge, because she's connected with the realms guiding her, as well as the Empress. I have to say, the Empress, the creative feminine energy, is the one which gives birth to everything.
The Emperor, that was at times when I was very focused on my career. Got there, been there, done that. I would never identify myself with the Hierophant.
Claire says that she loves the Hierophant, the tough Hierophant.
The tough Hierophant. It's a beautiful card. It's I love the idea of what the Hierophant says in this card, where you see the road and the sword of justice in the middle. So it's all about. But I have a bit of a problem being raised a Catholic and dropped out with clergy. And this one, like in the other cards, represent the Hierophant was the Pope.
Yeah.
And that's an archetype that's not really resonant with me. I'd rather be a magician.
To me, it's too much structure, too much of tradition, and I'm all what tradition is not.
And I'm more of a manifester than
absolutely.
And of course the wisdom and the teaching, but that would, for me, that would be embodied more with the card that comes later. That's the Hermit. And the light bringer, the introspect, the one that thinks about stuff, And of course with the clergy also has a negative connotation for what happens in clergy atmospheres. Maybe we did an episode in our Fool's Journey about Hierophant, and we ended that one, but we need new Hierophants. We need a new archetypal Hierophant in the world. We have seen so many people rising up and then falling down, rising themselves up, making themselves important. So it's the ego thing of the Hierophant.
Absolutely. And look what Iron Firehorse says. I love the Thoth deck. We also have a comment.
And Claire loves the Thoth deck too. I know that. I used to think it was the religious aspect, but Thoth helped me to see beyond that, and that I'm learning from teachers of life all the time. I completely. I see that too. Of course.
We will continue with those series because, first of all, we hope it's helpful. Second of all, we just enjoy that.
We love it ourselves.
It's time to depart. It's time to say goodbye for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us live, or if you're rewatching it, thank you so much for sharing your energy with us. It's a pleasure, and see you next week.